Okay, so I know this might be slightly optimistic, but we got some books to talk about. This is my December TBR, so let's get started. Hello everyone, I'm Rosa, welcome. So today we are going through my December TBR, which I feel like I'm being overly positive, optimistic in regards to how many books I can read throughout December, because as we all know, December is a crazy busy month, so we're gonna have to see how much is actually possible to read. However, I want to go through the books that I've picked out and that I've had helped picking out as well, and since we have like 12-14 books to go through, I think we should get started right away. Right? Okay. So the first book that we're going to talk a bit about is Hunted by Meagan Spooner, and this is also my December buddy read on my Patreon. So if you want to join us for the book club buddy read, I'll make sure to leave a link to my Patreon both in the description box as well as in the pinned comment. But Hunted is about Yeva, that's her girl, right? I feel like I have basically summarized this book 3 times within the past month. But yeah, it's about Yeva and her family that are quite privileged until one day they're not. This means they have to move somewhere and kind of learn how to take care of themselves instead of relying on help, basically, like servants and stuff. And everyone in her family are kind of down about this, except from Yeva, because Yeva likes to hunt. So she's having the time of her life. But one day while she's out in the forest, she comes across the beast and hunts it back to where it lives, which turns out to be like a haunted or cursed castle and some cursed woods and stuff. So yeah, very interesting. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's young adult fantasy romance, and I'm looking forward to it. And also this cover is so shiny, like there's a lot going on. But I'm looking forward to this read so much. I love a good Beauty and the Beast retelling. I'm not gonna make any Stockholm Syndrome jokes today, I promise, but we're looking forward to this one quite a lot. Like Stockholm Syndrome in regards to Beauty and the Beast, obviously. I wouldn't actually joke about it as a thing. Just want to point that out. So from this month on, I have decided to do 2 buddy reads over on Patreon. One will be covered in a spoilery vlog, which will be Hunted this month. And the other one I'm doing to make sure that nobody's left behind, if that makes sense. So the other pick of the month is A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tillie Cole, which I believe is a rather sad story. At least I've heard that it's supposed to be a bit of a tearjerker, so I'm a little bit nervous about that. But it's about a boy and a girl who, as children, were friends, and then the boy has to go back to Norway, but then returns later on, and is kind of wondering why he was cut off contact. Like, why did they stop talking? They were supposed to be, like, meant to be, sort of. And he discovers something that's apparently quite heartbreaking. And that's all I know. I'm very intrigued by the cover of the book because it looks cute. I'm very intrigued by the title as well, so we will see. Heard lots of good things about the book as well, so I feel like it's kind of like a must read. As far as I've understood, it's a YA contemporary romance, but that's just from what I've read about the book. So we'll know more about that once we get to the monthly reading wrap up, but looking forward to that one. And then I had some issues trying to pick out what I wanted to read for my own TBR. So I asked over on Patreon as well if they could help me out, and they picked out The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, and I also have the sequel, so if I like the first one, I'll also be reading the second one, but I'm counting on liking the first one. It's blurred by Sarah J. Maas. I mean, I'm a sucker for Maas, so I have a good feeling about this one. So this book is about a young girl who, I think she's 17. She works at a prison. She's not so much working at the prison as much as she's forced to work at the prison. She's a survivor. Yeah. And one day, the rebel queen has been captured and arrives at this prison. And along with the queen, our lead girl also gets a message that says something like, have her survive, we'll be coming for her, or something like that. Like, make her survive. Something like that. Like, she has to survive. Anyway, but unfortunately, the rebel queen has to go through a trial. And if she survives this trial, she is set free. However, she's also very sick. So our lead girl decides to take her place, and as a reward, if she goes through them, both her and the rebel queen will be given their freedom. So it's a rebel story, a love story as well. I think there's something about another inmate at the prison and our lead girl, so I'm looking forward to this one. I love a good fantasy romance, as you guys probably know, and this has been on my TBR for months, so it's about time that I get to it. I think this is basically just young adult romance, fantasy, magic as well. The trial that they're talking about is an elemental trial, so there's some magic involved in that, and we're gonna have a good time reading it. I kind of want to do a reading vlog for this. We'll see. Let me know what you think. If that's something you want to watch, let me know. No idea what happens in the second one though. None. Not a clue. I just know that I love this cover. Not so much the spine, but the cover is beautiful. Ignore my nails, thank you. And then I got some more winter slash Christmas inspired books, or just books that I feel would be fitting for that season. I would say Hunted is also a bit of a wintry kind of read, at least from the cover, but I wouldn't really know because I've not read it. But the first one that I am counting on reading is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Which I believe we all know. It's just, my mom used to read A Christmas Carol for me and my brother when we were kids. So we had this calendar with 24 doors because we celebrate Christmas on the 24th. So she'd read a little, like, a tiny book every night before going to bed. So it's like, I've heard the story before. I've watched the movies. I've just never read it on my own. And I feel like it's about time. It's a classic though. I'm still gonna summarize it for you just in case you've never heard of it, but it's about a man who hates Christmas. Like, he just despises everything about it. He's also not the most, this is probably an under-exaggeration, not the most friendly man on the planet. Let's put it like that. And then one day, during Christmas time, he's visited by a ghost, and then another ghost, and another ghost. I think it's his long dead, the first one is his long dead business partner or something, and he's having an eye-opening experience by being visited by these ghosts. There's a moral somewhere in there. We're gonna figure it out. Well, I already know it, but we'll get to it when I read it. I'm just looking forward to actually reading this story on my own this year, so I wanted to put it on my December TBR. It's a very fast read, it's a classic, it's a Christmas book, it's perfect for December, so yeah, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Then I am picking up, which I was told would be a good winter read, The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. Zusak. I have issues pronouncing Z's in English, like I really have to concentrate to do it. I don't know what that's about anyway. But this book is about a book thief. I think it takes place during Second World War. We follow a little girl, but I think it's actually told from Death's point of view. As far as I've understood, I mean, literally says on the back, some important information, this novel is narrated by Death. And some would probably also say that this is a classic by now. I believe it's very highly, what's it called? Well received. Supposedly also a little bit on the sad side. I don't know why, but I don't want to know too much about it, which is also why I'm not summarizing it that well, but I just kind of want to go into it half blind. All I know is there's a little girl who steals books and it's told from Death's point of view, and it also takes place in Nazi Germany during Second World War. So yeah, but I think it's not necessarily YA, but YA friendly. It is historical fiction, obviously. If it's told from Death's point of view, does that make it fantasy, or I don't know. I don't know. We're moving on to the next one. The next one though is another one that I don't really know how to summarize because it's another plot that I don't want to know much about before going into it. It's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and I feel like this is a good cozy read, which is why I think it would do good for December, because December is like the cozy month of all months. It's the coziness, you know, it's just amazingly cozy, basically. So what I do know is that The Night Circus is about a girl called Celia is going to a night circus that arrives without warning, and in the morning it's gone again. That's all I know. The reason that I know this is because on the back it says, the circus arrives without warning. No announcements preceded. It is simply there when yesterday it was not. So I just don't want to know too much about it. I've heard that it's a very, not necessarily the most like plot heavy book because it's Erin Morgenstern, but it's supposed to be beautiful. So this is also the Illumicrate special edition, by the way, if you wanted to know. It's like super shiny. In case you couldn't tell, and it has stenciled edges as well. It also has a ribbon bookmark right here. So, but I am looking forward to this one. Might also do a reading vlog on this. I don't really know, but yep. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Stunning edition as well. So, yep. Oh, and this, by the way, is young adult, I think, or possibly just young adult friendly. Fantasy, romance, I think that's it. Magic as well, I would say. Magic, yeah. And circus vibes. Le Cirque de Rêve, the Circus of Dreams. So the next one is an adult contemporary romance, which is wintry, not holiday, wintry. I did make the mistake of thinking that it was going to be holiday themed, but I'm okay with it just being wintry. And it's called 8 Perfect Hours by Lia Louis. So I have the synopsis here because honestly I don't remember it well enough to just summarize it from nothing, so I'm gonna read it out loud. It says, on a snowy evening in March, 30-something Noelle Butterby, or Butterby, I don't know, is on her way back from an event at her old college when disaster strikes. With a blizzard closing off roads, she finds herself stranded, alone in her car without food, drink, or a working charger for her phone. All seems lost until Sam Atwood, a handsome American stranger also trapped in a nearby car, knocks on her window and offers assistance. What follows is 8 perfect hours together until morning arrives and the roads finally clear. The two strangers part, positive they'll never see each other again, but fate, it seems, has a different plan. As the two keep serendipitously that was a word I did not expect to come across, okay? Serendipitously, that's mean. Yep, bumping into one another, they begin to realize that perhaps there truly is no such thing as coincidence. So, as far as I've gathered, this is basically like a lot of different things happen, like coincidences that, but like lucky, happy coincidences that basically just, yeah, cause good things in their lives, basically. But I felt like I like a good contemporary romance, so I was looking for a wintry one. Came across this one and felt like it sounded cute. Hope it's gonna be a fun read as well. So 8 Perfect Hours by Lia Louis. And then I have another classic, which is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. And honestly, I'm not sure that I can summarize this one either. What I do know is that it is a classic, a romance, it's gothic, and it's also feminist, or a feminist novel. And my friend, I have a friend one friend in real life who likes to read a lot. I told her that this was on my October TBR, but I didn't have time to read it because I had like 20 to choose from, and I ended up not going for this one. And she was like, no, you gotta read it. So I said, okay, I'll put it on my December TBR. She said that it's her third most favorite book and that she cried reading it, so I have high hopes. But we both share a love for Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It's my favorite book. It's her favorite book. I trust her taste. I'm looking forward to this one, so I'll make sure to read it here in December. It's happening. I just know that it's about a woman who's not necessarily, I want to say, okay with being treated the way that they are treated in the times that this was written, if that makes sense. Because, yeah, she's a very fierce woman. But that is all. It's like Audrey Rose from Stalking Jack the Ripper. Standing up for herself. Because we have interests too, you know? And then I have 2 books that I'm reading on Kindle. The first one being one that I am sure that some of you are like, yes, finally you're reading it. But it's Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I hope that's how you pronounce her last name. McQuiston? I don't know. Oh gosh. And do I remember the synopsis? No. Give me a second. Okay. So I have tried to refresh my memory a bit. It's basically about the first son in America, so the son of the president, but also the prince in England. And the two have met in the past, did not get along, and while the election is about to take place, or something like that, something political, it's fine. A political sort of event is gonna take place. The two are kind of to save, I suppose, the American parents from having this old issue between the two of them come up again. They're kind of forced to be friends, but also I think they kind of start liking each other, and there's a secret relationship going on, and I don't know, I'm excited for it because a lot of people said that this book was good, and it was recommended to me by one of my friends as well, so I got it on Kindle. I'm ready to read it. I almost bought a physical copy of it while I was in Copenhagen, but I ended up not doing it. Kind of regretting that I didn't, but that's okay. Can always get it later on. But I'm looking forward to reading it so much. I think it's, oh gosh, is it young adult or is it just adult? I actually just took a look at Goodreads to make sure that I didn't get it wrong because there's a big difference between young adult and adult. But Goodreads says young adult, new adult, and adult. So I'm gonna update you guys on that once I've read it. Yeah, I'm thinking that it's probably gonna get closer to new adult, if anything. I don't know. But also contemporary romance, and of course we got queer rep as well. So yeah, I'm gonna have a good time reading Red, White, and Royal Blue. Looking forward to it. Not necessarily the most wintry read, but it sounds like a good time and I'll take it. And then as the second last one that I'm gonna tell you guys about, it's actually a trilogy. It's by Kate Stewart and the first one is called Flock and it's a part of the Ravenhood trilogy, I think. I've seen these books pop up quite a lot lately, I think, on Instagram actually. So Bookgram, what do they call it? Bookstagram? And I don't know how to summarize these books because the synopsis is very vague, but I'm gonna read it out loud. If my neighbors will stop making so much noise outside, I don't even know if the microphone is picking up on it, but they're so noisy. Like, so noisy. It's like Christmas dinner season, so people are drunk all the time. Not me though. Not me. Do I sound salty? I was supposed to, just so you know. I did that on purpose. Anyway, it goes, can you keep a secret? I grew up sick. Let me clarify. I grew up believing that real love stories include a martyr or demand great sacrifice to be worthy. Because of that, I believed it, because I made myself believe it, and I bred the most masochistic of romantic hearts, which resulted in my illness. When I lived this story, my own twisted fairy tale, it was unbeknownst to me at the time because I was young and naive. I gave in to temptation and fed the beating beast, which grew thirstier with every slash, every strike, every blow. Triple Falls wasn't at all what it seemed, nor were the men that swept me under their wing. But in order to keep them, I had to be in on their secrets. Secrets that cost us everything to keep. That's the novelty of fiction versus reality. You can't relive your own love story because by the time you've realized you're living it, it's over. At least, that was the case for me and the men I trusted my foolish heart to. Looking back, I'm convinced I willed my story into existence due to my illness, and all were punished. That doesn't make any sense. And all were punished. And all were punished. Punished? Anyway, so as you can hear, it sounds pretty vague, but it sounds like a contemporary romance situation. I think it's a new adult as well, yeah. And also dark. So we'll see. Not a lot of fantasy on my TBR this month. What's going on? Looking forward to it. I've had my eyes on it on my Kindle for a while, and I think it's about time that I take the plunge. And then the last one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And this is the special edition. It's the illustrated, what's it called? Illustrated Anniversary Edition. It has stenciled edges, sprayed edges up here. It also has art on the end papers, as you can see right here, and also foiling on the naked cover. Plus, it also has like a lot of art in the middle, which is just beautiful. I love it. So we got more here. I love book art. I love book art so much. Book art is my jam. There's also some here. I love it. So, yep. In this book, we follow our lead girl called Addie LaRue. And Addie, 300 years ago, entered a deal with, I think the devil, but I'm not really sure. Someone who looks like the devil, or someone who's like the devil. I don't know. We'll see once I read it. So that she basically would not die. So she's immortal. But this also kind of meant that with the time, she'd be kind of forgotten by the people that she can't leave a lasting impression, if that makes sense. Because at some point, she has to move on. So 300 years later, in our time, we are following her in New York, where she meets Henry at a bookshop. And as their lives kind of start to intertwine, I think Addie finds herself not wanting to let go, not wanting to start over with her life as she has to do as an immortal. So there are some choices to be made and also some consequences by those decisions that she makes. So we will see about that. This is a beautiful book. I have read Shades of Magic by V.E. Schwab, so I am assuming that I'll really like her writing because I liked it in that trilogy. And I think I'm gonna have a good time with this book. So yeah, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And that is it. I feel like there's possibly like 4 tearjerkers on this list. I feel like this is gonna be one. I think The Book Thief is gonna be one. I think A Thousand Boy Kisses is gonna be one. And I also think that one of the books in the Ravenhood trilogy might also be one. So I'm gonna have an emotionally breaking month, am I not? I feel like I am. That's fine. We all have to test our limits sometimes, right? So December will be my time to test them. That's good warm-up for Christmas, isn't it? Yeah. It's gonna be a good time. But anyways, that is my December TBR. So how many books is that total? Let's see. 14. Well, I can do that. That's fine. 14 books. Easy, baby. We'll see. Anyway, if you've read any good books lately, let me know in the comments. If you've read any of these books lately, please don't spoil them, but feel free to say like how you felt about them. Did you like them? Did you not like them in the comments as well? Share your opinions. If you want to check out the book club, like I said, there will be a link to it in both the description box, but also in the pinned comment as well. And other than that, I hope you're all gonna have a great start to December. I hope that you are spending time with your family if that's how you celebrate Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you're just having a great time cozying up with yourself or your loved ones and just that you're having a great time. So that is all I got for you today. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to hang out with me and everyone in the comments and talk about books and nerd out, feel free to stick around by clicking on the subscribe button, and that is all. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!